Good morning, my friends. We're in another garden for the Wow Garden project. This time we came to Mazovia, not far from Warsaw, to a garden that can be called an amazing purple garden. You'll see for yourselves in a moment, because we're going to go around to the other side of the house to greet the owner, Edita, and you'll see how many purple plants there are. Stay with me because there will also be a little fun. Because of these purple plants, we're going to Edita. Listen, Edita is already here with us by one of her favorite plants. Hi, welcome. Hi.
Welcome, good morning.
Let me ask about this catnip, since I see catnip here in the jungle.
I love it. It's my favorite plant, as you can see, since the company garden is full of catnip today.
And in these purple flowers, and in...
Purple flowers, exactly.
Which you will see in a moment. We're going to take a look. I told the viewers that we're in this amazing purple garden, and here is the purple space. Do you like this color? I do.
I love it, yes.
Tell me, because you can see the garden has been here for a while. It's about 6 or 7 years old, just by looking at it. And where did the idea for the garden even come from, and how did it come to be here?
The garden idea developed gradually. I didn't instantly plan these flower beds. When we finished building the house, we naturally wanted to start a garden, and it all began with the trees.
With the trees? With the trees?
Yes.
So the garden, I also think that you have to start by planting at least 2 trees.
Exactly. So we planted 2, 4, 5, 6, I think about 8 trees and a few shrubs, and it was still empty. But I kept gradually planting more and more plants. But I really started taking care of the garden seriously when COVID came. We came here for the lockdown and stayed through the summer holidays.
And you stayed, and you did.
We stayed. There was no more talk at all about returning to Warsaw, and then there was also more time to read a bit, to watch various interesting gardening programs that she was inspired by.
So really, the core of this garden is 5 years old. It's 5 years.
An intense 5 years?
I'm looking here because this flower bed is really quite long, right? Quite long. Good, 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 good. Didn't you feel bad about giving up the lawn in favor of...
Absolutely, absolutely. At first, when this flower bed was marked out, I immediately said it was too small, and we made it bigger because the original plan was for it to be shallower, but I knew there would definitely be a lot of plants here and definitely a lot of flowering ones, so we decided right away that it wouldn't work. Today, I would actually have less lawn.
More?
Everyone needs to have something for themselves.
But you have those flower beds set up in such a way that it would be hard to move them, that it would be a lot of work then, wouldn't it?
It would be difficult, but I wouldn't really think about this part. But here...
On the other side, in front of the terrace.
Yes, it could be without that part of the lawn. Well, but like I said, everyone needs to have a bit of pleasure in the garden for themselves, and the lawn is my husband's hobby.
It looks great, but speaking of hobbies, you have beehives here, which we'll talk about in a moment. And could you tell us a bit about why there's so much lawn? Why are there so many of these cutting plants here? Let's keep looking around. Before we get to your purple flowers, tell us a bit more about these trees. What kinds of trees do you have here in the garden?
We have a few trees. We started with that planting and bought birch trees. We bought a beautiful Kansan cherry tree, my favorite tree.
How old is it now?
As old as the garden, so about 7 years, but it was already quite impressive when we bought it. Plane trees, catalpas.
Oh, you mentioned the plane trees before. Yes, because they're enclosed here. You said that if you didn't cut them, how many meters would they have? Yes.
A mature tree that's 30 years old, its crown reaches a span of 25 meters.
Some people don't even have a plot that big.
Exactly, so we have to prune them regularly. What
time of year do you prune?
We try to do it every year. Sometimes we skip a year, but then the branches cover the whole garden, so it gets really shady here.
They're behind us, so by August they'll likely be further along.
Probably. You probably won't be able to see that house at all anymore. Yes, the neighbor's house, and they almost connect because the branches grow almost 2.5 meters a year. After we cut them at the trunk by autumn, the trees were already connecting. It's amazing. We also have a catalpa. What
vitality, right? Yes.
Huge, yes, very thick branches. It's a big problem to cut them. We also have a catalpa and a Japanese katsura tree. The katsura is my second favorite since it needs no care, no pruning at all. I have in my...
For example, a katsura tree, but I have no space for more trees.
But there are also pendula varieties, and they are much smaller, also really nice.
It changes color.
It turns yellow unless the frost comes too early, because if a stronger frost comes, it doesn't have time to change color, but...
It's so subtle, delicate, isn't it? Because it's not like that. It's not like that. The branches aren't as thick as with, I think, plain trees, but the leaves are also kind of fluttering.
Very pretty leaves. They say they smell like cookies. I haven't experienced that effect yet. I've never noticed it, but...
Maybe, but...
Maybe, since it really depends on the temperature. When the Grodzecznik was planted, it was about 1.20 meters tall. So it grew. So it's also a very fast-growing tree, but it's not troublesome, really.
Well, it's important to have trees that aren't troublesome, because then you spend less time working in the garden.
Definitely.
I promised there would be a little fun, and here it is. Listen, during our visit here, there are plenty of shots. As I mentioned, there are many purple plants. So I have a request for you. Please write in the comments how many species of purple plants you counted here. And if you know the names, write the names. And now Edita is asking you a question. Where did the idea even come from to make it purple?
It all started with catnip, and then it just went from there, so to speak.
What purple plants do you have in those flower beds behind us?
There's catnip.
There's Salvia caradona, there are alliums, Dame's rocket, baptisia. Oh my, someone surely knows this plant because it's still popular in Poland. There's bluebeard, but it will...
Bloom only in August. Yes, under...
At the end of summer.
But you have many different varieties of sage. There are the taller ones like caradona and shorter varieties, yes?
I fell in love with sages just like I fell in love with catmints. Besides, sages are really beautiful perennials and undemanding. Snails don't eat them. They don't get diseases. Sometimes you might get some powdery mildew, but honestly, it's very rare.
They might freeze if they start growing too early, but no.
No, this year we had some cold snaps that weren't as mild as in most of the country, and the sage survived really well. So I haven't noticed frost being a problem for them. I also have bellflowers, which you can see are
planted
along the path to the beehives. Since I have bees, exactly, there are 2 hives near the enclosure.
And that was my next question. Well, because these plants, if we take a closer look here, you'll see how many bees there are. Do the bees from your hives fly somewhere else?
If they have such resources close by, right under their noses, so to speak, they won't fly anywhere else. So we try to provide them with resources in our garden all the way until autumn, so they don't have to fly far.
Catnip is now in full bloom and the bees are really buzzing around here. But in a moment, should we trim it a bit? Yes? Does trimming help it bloom again? Of course.
It's necessary. Last year it bloomed 3 times just like the salvias, so you need to cut everything.
There's a lot of cutting to do, no denying it.
And what do you use to cut?
Unfortunately, by hand, there's no other way to do it.
It can be done. It can? It can. And since we always bring gifts when we come, I brought you something from the NAK company. A gift that will definitely help you with trimming those soft perennials. So I'll go bring it and you'll see what it is. Great. the NAK company, for the effort put into this garden, preparing it so beautifully, and for the work, always gives our participants gifts. Here I have something for you that will change your life. That's what I can say. These are battery-powered shears for trimming perennials, and not only that, also small hedges. Look, heavy, light.
Oh, super light.
Light. I didn't think it would be light. Awesome. These blades cut all the perennials. Like I said, they're perfect for catnip, but that's not all, because this device also has a little cart. So the little wheels help when we attach these shears, for example, to trim the edges of lawns, and they work really well. Fantastic. Here you go.
This part is for me. This part is for my husband.
Because my husband takes care of the lawn, I've already heard that. But that's not all, because I have more in the box. Another part, and as I said, for hedges, your little boxwoods here, which look nice, we'll definitely like it, and you'll really like it too. Great, because this longer blade really works very well for those topiary finishes, no? Heavy, and it's very easy to change. Just 2 clicks and we switch. Wonderful. And it's done.
I'll have good equipment and use it without hesitation.
I'll ask how it worked when we come in August, and you can tell me. Maybe we'll trim something then. Wonderful.
Because there's a lot of catnip to cut too. Great. Really nice.
I'm actually repeating myself in many episodes, but I do it because a lot of people ask me about a shaded garden. Because apparently now there's a trend for this kind of forest-like shaded garden. You also have a shaded part in your garden that isn't purple. No.
Here there's basically no color. Here it's really the textures of the plants, the shades of green that matter. The background consists of pine trees my husband planted as a child.
They're already quite old.
They're already quite old. Climbing hortensia, Hakanakloa.
Looks nice with those hairs. Yes, very.
I really like it. Boxwoods.
Boxwoods, well, they're probably old too, boxwoods.
They actually came from my mom's garden. They were growing in a place where they didn't have a chance to spread out. And my mom just decided to get rid of them, and we brought them here, and they were quite big.
Oh, I see. A boxwood like that would already be more than a dozen years old.
Exactly. It came here, found plenty of space, and stayed for good. You can also grow undemanding plants like geraniums and berdenias in a shaded flower bed.
Great. And further on, you have a little surprise, but that's coming up in a moment. The surprise is a mirror, but a water one. Because in many gardens, you can already find such mirrors hanging, which expand and elongate the space for us and reflect the light. And here at your place, the mirror is in the form of, yes, a water one. What else does it do besides look nice?
Besides being decorative, it also serves as a bird bath because bees have their own water sources near the hives. However, on hot days and during droughts, birds come here. They both bathe and drink from it. My cats come here too. Well,
the water is warm. Yes, warm water. So you could easily take a dip here. Next to you, there's a fantastic fern. Yes. Beautiful structure.
Japanese painted fern. Beautiful.
Structure.
Beautiful leaf color with purple tones. If you look closely, the veins are actually purple. I'm really enchanted by this fern. They're already appearing in nurseries. You can already buy not very impressive plants.
I have them in my garden too, but they're smaller. I don't think they spread much.
Quickly, because this clump is also a few years old. Basically, 2 seedlings were bought, but it really doesn't spread much.
But what is worth noting? Look at how the structures play in the garden, because we have a stone next to it, which is a completely different structure than this knowledge. And the whole thing is either spread here or not spread, because probably needles have also fallen from
the pine tree.
And we have 3 different structures. And how it looks next to that water, this part of the garden already has a complete composition. Nothing else is needed. And actually, we don't need height for this here. No.
No, the Terrace and Astrantia flowers both add some height. Begonia not in spring. Well?
But all of this is up to 30 centimeters, 40 at most. And we have a beautiful structure. This Viednika is amazing and beautiful.
I really recommend it, because it's truly unique in my opinion.
Edita, listen, if the viewers would like to see a few more shots from your garden, even during the time when we won't be here, because things will probably still be happening, so where can they see it? On Instagram? Yes.
Instagram account, Editabra, so I invite you to check it out.
I'll put a link to that Instagram in the description of this video. But also remember to wait for the next episode from this garden, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel, because if you subscribe and turn on the bell, you'll get updates regularly. You'll know when new videos appear, but we're not saying goodbye yet. We're moving on to the next part of the garden, because it's very interesting there too. And we'll show you how you can work and replant, because Edita was replanting something just yesterday.
I planted more yesterday.
Edita, I have some thoughts. Lately, I've been traveling through gardens. A garden is always beautiful and can always be improved, but there is always a place in such a garden that is the most important. What kind of place is that? What do you think? Well,
that's a tool shed. You simply need a place to store all the tools used to take care of.
The garden, a space that serves as everything, a storage room for equipment. Exactly. And it also serves as a place for repotting, planting, and transplanting various plants, because as in many cases, there are also pots on terraces.
Of course.
Obviously, you have one, and it's a big one.
Could
Be even bigger.
It could be even bigger. That was actually going to be my next question. Could it be bigger? Because honestly, I feel like when it comes to utility rooms in a house, if someone has a garden, then the gardener's shed or tool shed should be the biggest space.
Absolutely, I agree with that.
Tell me, because you told me earlier that you were still planting yesterday. Did you plant more? We'll show it in a moment.
Yes. I was planting more yesterday.
Ubiorki.
Yes, she found me by chance yesterday in a beautiful color. My color, actually.
Purple. So purple. Yes, because
I only had white ones before, so I added more.
we'll show you in a moment. Speaking of transplanting and planting more, I have another gift for you. I'll go get it in a moment, and you'll see what it is and if it works. I brought you a little transplanting table as a gift from the company Diagram. I think the height is just right.
Perfect, very ergonomic.
Great. There's a guard here so that nothing falls out. I know that transplanting is a basic thing in the garden. Yes.
There's always something. And
It's great to have something portable like this, since you can repot plants elsewhere and just move or rearrange it as needed. I always have trouble checking something like this myself, because honestly, there's always a problem when I'm repotting something and need to put it somewhere. So I hope it works out. When we come over, you can tell us if you manage to use it more often during this period, when the plants are being repotted less. And now we're going to keep looking around, because we still have something else to show you. Edita, we've come to what many consider the heart of the garden, which is the terrace. Your terrace is also quite spacious. Do you spend much time on this terrace?
a lot.
Of course, when there's no work to do in the garden.
of course, when there's no work in the garden. In the evenings, we usually sit here because that's when we have a moment to breathe and relax. I can't imagine life without a terrace. I thought it was too big, but it isn't.
No, a terrace is never too big. A terrace
Is never.
too big. Yes, I know that. Something.
But this one was, in general, it's located in such a way that the sun shines here all day long, basically. And we hardly use this part at all until we...
Put up the pergola for yourself.
because it was simply impossible to sit out here. Of course, it was only in the fall that we sat out here looking for the last rays of sunshine to warm ourselves up a bit.
To warm up a bit more, yes, with that.
Sunshine.
But since we're sitting here and talking like this, we've already seen most of your garden, because we left part of it for our next visit. So tell me, because everyone has some wishes, right? Of course, there are a lot of wishes in the garden, those kinds of dreams, but what do you really miss the most in your garden? Is there something you would gladly do, but for some reason, maybe because of a lack of different things, you don't have it?
There is one thing that really comes out in the evenings, and that's the lack of lighting in the garden, because the trees look beautiful when they're illuminated, for example. And those walking paths would also be nice if they were lit up like that.
It's kind of like an extension of the garden's activities, so to speak, right?
Yes, especially since we have a view of the garden from the living room, and we bought some lights like that, but they don't really work, the ones that are supposed to light up the trees. It looks nice for a moment, but the lights can't keep up. Lighting is likely the most important factor.
So I wish you that at least you managed to quickly make that dream come true, but as a substitute for that dream, it just so happens that our partner Nowodworski Lighting is giving you these gifts for your terrace. exactly for the terrace, and they work great. This is really solid equipment, very heavy, nice.
It won't fly away with the wind.
It won't fly away. Well, if it's really windy, I think it might, but it's heavy enough that it shouldn't, and maybe that's just the beginning of the equipment, of fulfilling that dream about the lighting. About the lighting, and I hope that when we come next time, there will already be some plan for that lighting, maybe.
Maybe, I don't know. We'll see, but we need to dig up half the garden.
But maybe there are solutions. Maybe you know of solutions where you don't have to dig up the garden, and they're not solutions for those short-term solar lamps, for example. Honestly, not all of them work well. Here are some tips.
If you know of any solutions, be sure to write them in the comments.
And on this optimistic note about dreams, we end our visit with Edita. I'm excited to see how this garden looks in August, since some plants won't bloom yet. You promised things would be different, so you should wait too. Be sure to write which purple plants you saw here, and see you next time.
See you.